8 days of racing across the state of California between San Diego and the finish in Sacramento outside of the state capital. The last stage, 86 miles or 138 kilometers, signing in for the last time as leader of the race, Julian Alaphilippe.
Yes, Mark Cavendish, the sprinter, had said this race would be bookend, first stage and last day for the sprinters on day one. He didn't come up with the goods.
Big sprinters are all looking forward to this last stage, including Peter Sagan, beaten by the narrowest of margins on Saturday in Santa Rosa. The rollout, it was a circuit race. They were racing out of town, coming back, and 3 laps of a finishing circuit to wrap it all up.
As they soon came past kilometre 0 after a neutralised section, it didn't take very long for an early breakaway to form off the front end of the main field. 7 riders finally managing to break the stranglehold of the peloton, and they got clear.
But back in the field, they were having their own distractions here, because right by that orange mark on the road, the pothole, down went 2 riders. Fortunately, they both would remount and continue to catch up with the peloton, but nonetheless, the roads on this sector of the course were pretty bad. An earlier crash victim too was Dylan Groenewegen on the same team as one of the fallers we just saw there.
In the yellow jersey, Julian Alaphilippe knew that he had to conserve as much of his 16-second advantage as possible, but at the front of the main field looking after him was Tom Boonen. At the back of the main field, though, all action. Brent Buckwalter in the podium position had a flat tyre, but also one of the big sprinters of the day, Mark Cavendish, who'd been wearing number 31, had a flat tyre, and he was paced back into the main field by his teammates.
Yes, well, Buckwalter got back as well. His 3rd place was saved in the overall classifications. As we got onto the finishing circuit with 2 laps to go, the 7 leaders were still clear. Tinkoff suddenly realised, had they misjudged this? And as they tried to chase them down, more crashes out on the circuit.
That was Peter Stettner, who went down very hard on the final finishing circuit, but this race was really all about the sprinters. With 1 lap to go, the main field could finally see the 7-man leading group, and as they crossed the line, they still held on to a 10-second advantage over some of the fastest men in the world.
But it was time now to chase them down as they neared the end of the circuit. The final mile would decide the peloton, all coming together. Now it was a case of lining up for the finish, and the sprinters would get their day on this final day of the Amgen Tour. Jake Kelly on the right there for Wiggins, one of the last to be caught from the breakaway. Now it was the line-up for the finish, and it was the Katusha team trying to deliver Alexander Kristoff, as they did yesterday, to the line in Santa Rosa. Sagan took up the running, and then came the Manx missile. Mark Cavendish coming from absolutely nowhere, no teammates left. He found his way through to take his 1st stage of the week and his 10th historically.
Yes, but not far away from Mark Cavendish coming across the line to get the victory was the yellow jersey there on the shoulders of Julian Alaphilippe, confirming that this year he'll be the winner of the Amgen Tour of California after finishing 2nd last year by a mere 3 seconds.
Yes, the first Frenchman ever to win the Amgen Tour of California, now in its 11th year. But for the sprinter Cavendish, he's used to winning here. He's done it in 2010, 2014, 2015, and now 2016. Saluting the crowd though, Julian Alaphilippe, the youngest ever winner of the Tour of California, just 23 years of age. He'll be 24 in a couple of weeks' time. And now they've got to make a decision whether to take him to the Tour de France. We'll find out. On the podium, Paul, Mark Cavendish.
Wiped away on day 1 by Peter Sagan over on the left-hand side. This time Sagan had to settle for 2nd place, and Alexander Kristoff. But those are 3 of the fastest sprinters in the world, 1, 2 and 3.
They most certainly are. Mark Cavendish getting the victory all same time. Sagan, Kristoff, Danny Van Poppel 4th again. John Degenkolb getting better every day. That's a great result for Degenkolb, who's injured. Bonifacio, 6th place for him. Jempe Drucker. These were the fastest men in this year's race. And Dylan Groenewegen, even though he fell off today and had doctor's treatment, still got 9th place. The King of the Mountains, that was crowned yesterday, but this is the final jersey. You've got to get to the finish line, and Evan Huffman became the King of the Mountains, having taken the lead on the 2nd stage. Finally winning ahead of Julian Alaphilippe and Oscar Clark, who was the only other wearer of that jersey on day 1.
A little bit further down, George Bennett starting to climb well once again in 6th, but watch out for Neilson Paulus in 7th position there. He was the best young rider of this year's Amgen Tour.
Another green jersey for the man that loves that colour is Peter Sagan here. The Visit California points competition for him again. He lost it last year to Mark Cavendish, but he's won it every other year since 2010. As he throws the flowers to the crowd, he was a convincing winner. Look at that, 68 points ahead of Christoph on 33. He had it won yesterday, but of course, the same as Huffman, he had to finish the race to get it. Danny Van Poppel in 6th place as well. But the yellow jersey is what they all want, and there it is, beaten on both sides, sandwiched by Team BMC, Dennis and Buckwalter 2nd and 3rd. Alaphilippe, the youngest ever French winner of this race. He really did put up a great show of defiance, especially in the time trial. The final result, Rowan Dennis finishing 21 seconds back, Buckwalter 43, Talansky 52, Lawson Craddock came up today to 5th place, and the big loser on the last stage, Neilson Paulus, who finished 9th, but best young rider.